my friend, to Still Point 1210, where we pause together to breathe, to reset and to rise. Each still point offers two simple, meaningful moments: a brief meditation to steady the body and the breath, and a short reflection to open the heart and the mind. You're invited to stay for both parts or join for the meditation only if that is what you need today. And if you can't stay for the reflection, that is completely okay. You can always come back and listen whenever you need to. I'm Sharon, Campbell-Rayment, and in this still point session, we focus on how we return to peace. Now, before we begin, I invite you just to take a quick moment to subscribe on this YouTube channel, follow on Facebook, and share this still point with someone who may need a few moments of peace today. Sometimes a simple pause, shared at the right moment, can become a blessing on someone else's day. As we begin, this is a gentle practice meant to support awareness and calm. It's not intended to replace medical or mental health care. Now let's take a breath together and come back to the still point within. Just take a moment to come back to the present moment. Wherever you are, let your body settle. Let your feet feel the ground beneath you. Let your hands rest softly. Let your shoulders drop, even a little. And simply notice your breath. No need to change it yet. Just notice that your breath has been with you all along. This is the ready movement. When we pause and notice, we interrupt the automatic stress cycle. The brain begins to shift from reacting to observing. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain involved in attention, awareness, and wise choice, begins to come back online. So just notice, what am I carrying today? Where have I been trying to prove I belong? Where has my body been bracing? Take a gentle breath in. And as you breathe out, let your body know, I am safe here. I am safe enough in this moment. Now we move on to release. Take a slow breath in through the nose. Pause gently at the top. And exhale slowly, as if you were fogging a mirror. Let the breath leave with softness, then pause. Again, breathe in. And at the maximum inhale, just pause briefly. And exhale with that gentle fogging breath. And pause at the maximum exhale. As the exhale lengthens, the body begins to send signals of safety. The amygdala, the part of the brain that scans for threat, can begin to quiet. The stress chemistry of the body begins to soften. And just breathe in through the nose. Pause. Exhale gently, then pause before inhaling again. Let your shoulders soften. Let your jaw unclench. Let your heart rest. Pause and breathe in again. And release. We now move into receive, and this is where we allow the breath to bring something deeper into us. Just breathing in slowly and gently, and pausing at the fullness of the breath. And receive this truth: I am held. And exhaling slowly, pausing at the end, and breathing in again. And quietly saying to yourself, I am welcomed by the sacred. Pausing to exhale again, I do not walk alone. As we breathe this way, the parasympathetic nervous system begins to support rest and regulation. The vagus nerve carries the messages between the body and the brain, reminding us that calm is possible, connection is possible, steadiness is possible. So again, breathe in. I am held. Pause. Breathe out. I belong. Pause. Breathing in. There is room for me. Breathing out. There is room for others too. Let those words settle beneath the surface. You're not outside the circle of love. You're not beyond blessing. You are not alone in this story. Now we move on to the return stage. Return does not mean rushing back unchanged. Return means we carry a little more steadiness within us. Take one more gentle breath in, pausing, and exhale slowly. Again, just feel your feet on the floor to become present again to the moment. Feel the chair beneath you. Feel the space around you. As the brain and the body settle, we are more able to respond instead of react. We can return with more compassion, more patience, more openness to connection. So as you return to your day, carry this simple breath prayer. As you breathe in, I am held. As you breathe out, I belong. And maybe, because we do not receive belonging only for ourselves, carry this too. When you breathe in, there is room for me. And as you breathe out, there is room for others too. May you return to this moment with a relaxed body, a steadier breath, and a heart that remembers you already belong. Peace is a lovely word. It sounds soft when we say it, gentle, spacious, light enough to carry in the mouth like a blessing. But returning to peace is not always soft. Sometimes it is clumsy, sometimes it is slow, sometimes it looks less like floating on a cloud and more like standing in the kitchen, holding back tears, trying to remember why you walked into the room in the first place. Sometimes peace is not a grand spiritual feeling. Sometimes it is simply the moment you stop fighting yourself. That matters, especially around Mental Health Week in May, because many people hear words like peace and rest or wellness and quietly think, that sounds nice, but you do not know what it feels like in here. You do not know the mind that spins at 3 a.m. You do not know the body that cannot settle. You do not know the invisible weight that makes simple things feel heavy. You do not know how tiring it is to look fine on the outside while carrying storms no one else can see. And that is true. We often do not know what another person is carrying. But perhaps that is why peace cannot be something we demand from ourselves. It has to be something we return to gently, again and again, with compassion, with honesty, with small mercies. Because peace is rarely found by shaming ourselves into calm. It does not come because we scold the nervous system. It does not appear because we say, come on now, stop overreacting. It does not deepen because we compare ourselves to someone who seems stronger, steadier, or more together. That kind of pressure only tightens the knot. Peace grows differently. It grows where there is safety. It grows where there is kindness. It grows where the soul is given room to breathe. It grows in small returns. And that's important because many of us imagine peace as a destination, a place where we arrive and then remain forever, glowing quietly, never rattled again. But my friends, that is not how most of us live. Life pulls at us. News unsettles us. Relationships strain us. Grief ambushes us. Pain exhausts us. Memories surface. Bodies change. Responsibilities multiply. Loss comes uninvited. Fear creeps in through the cracks. And so peace is often not a permanent state. It is a practicing of returning. A return to prayer. A return to breath. A return to body. A return to the present moment. A return to what is true. A return to the quiet knowledge that we do not have to carry every thought that knocks on the door. Jesus seemed to understand this rhythm. Again and again, he withdrew. He stepped away from the crowds. He left noise behind. He went to the mountain, the garden, the lonely place, not because he was weak, not because he was avoiding life, but because even love in action needs space to breathe. What a holy thought that is. Even Jesus returned. Even Jesus paused. Even Jesus sought the silence. So perhaps returning to peace is not failure. Perhaps it is wisdom. Perhaps the need to return does not mean we are doing badly. Perhaps it means we are human. I think sometimes we believe that if we were spiritually mature enough, emotionally healthy enough, faithful enough, then peace would just stay. No trembling, no tears, no anxious loops, no inner exhaustion. But maybe maturity is not never being shaken. Maybe maturity is learning how to come back. Back to the breath when the mind spirals. Back to the body when fear becomes fog. Back to prayer when language disappears. And back to compassion when the inner critic starts shouting. Back to one small grounding thing when everything feels like too much. Because peace is often hidden in the small things. Not always in the dramatic breakthrough. Not always in the big revelation. Not always in the sudden healing. Sometimes peace arrives like a quiet hand on your shoulder. A cup of tea. A slower exhale. Fresh air through an open window. The sound of the rain. A dog resting nearby. A friend who does not try to fix you. A prayer with no polished words. 5 minutes where you do not have to pretend. These are not small in the eyes of the soul. These are doorways. And there is something tender and deeply needed in remembering that we are allowed to use simple doorways. We do not have to muscle our way back to peace. We do not have to earn it or to earn the rest. We do not have to prove that we are bad enough to deserve care. We are allowed to come back in tiny steps. In fact, that is often how real healing happens. Not in one sweeping movement, but in 1,000 small returns. 1,000 times noticing, I feel a bit overwhelmed. 1,000 times choosing, let me just soften my jaw. 1,000 times remembering my breath is still here. 1,000 times perhaps whispering, God, hold me here. 1,000 times saying, I need a pause. I just need to pause. That, my friend, is sacred work. Mental health struggles can make people feel like they are somehow failing at life. Failing at faith. Failing at coping. Failing at joy. Failing at being normal. But struggle is not failure. Needing support is not failure. Needing medication too, if you need it, is not failure. Needing therapy is not failure. Needing rest is not. Needing to step back is not. And needing one day at a time is not failure. These are not signs that you are weak. They are signs that you are alive and that life asks much of a human heart. There is holiness in tending the mind with the same compassion we would offer a wounded body. If someone has a broken ankle, we would not shout, "Walk properly." We would not accuse them of laziness for limping. We would not tell them that the stronger people would just get over it. We would make room. We would slow down. We would understand healing takes care. Why should the inner life deserve less tenderness? How we return to peace matters. If we return by force, we often leave parts of ourselves behind. If we return through denial, peace stays shallow. If we return by pretending, the soul remains tired. But when we return through compassion, something else happens. The nervous system eases, the body feels safer, the mind loosens its grip, and the spirit remembers it is held. Compassion is not indulgence, it is oxygen. And perhaps that is the invitation today. Not to chase peace like a prize, but to return to it like a home. Not because everything is fixed, not because all pain has vanished, and not because every question has been answered, but because somewhere beneath the noise, beneath the fear, beneath the exhaustion, there is still a point within you, that still point, a place where the soul can rest for a moment, a place where breath and grace meet, a place where God is not demanding anything from you except your honest presence. And honest presence can be very, very simple. Here I am, tired, tender, trying, still loved. Here I am, anxious, overfull, perhaps not at my best, but I am still held. Here I am, not peaceful yet, but willing to return. That may be one of the bravest prayers we ever speak. Not, I have mastered peace, but I am returning. Returning with the laundry undone. Returning with unanswered questions. Returning with a mind that still is racing. Returning with grief that still aches. Returning with a body that still carries stress. Returning, my friend, anyway. Because peace does not require perfection. It only asks for a place to enter. And sometimes the opening is very small. A breath, a pause, a soft chair, a patch of sunlight, a whispered prayer, a hand over the heart. One kind sentence spoken inward instead of one cruel word. That is enough to begin. And beginning again, my friend, is holy. Today, do not ask yourself how to become perfectly peaceful, and instead ask yourself this: what is one small way I can return to peace today? Then pause. Breathe in gently, counting by 4. 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath for 2. 1, 2, and breathing out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and pause. Inhaling, and you're saying, I am here. Exhaling, I can return. Try to do this 3 times, counting to 4 on the inhale and saying, I am here. Pausing for 2 breaths, And then breathing out, I can return. And pausing for 3 and breathing again. Try this 3 times and then choose one small return. Sit by a window, step outside for a moment, turn off the noise, drink water slowly, place your hand perhaps over your heart, text someone you feel close to, rest without apology or whisper a simple prayer. God of gentleness, meet me in small returns. Bring me back to the peace, not by force, but by compassion. Let that be enough for today, because peace is not always something we achieve. Sometimes it is something we return to, one tender step at a time. So as we return now, may we carry a little more peace, a little more steadiness, and a wee bit more room to pause and to breathe. Thank you for spending these few minutes with me today. And again, if Still Point brought you a moment of peace, steadiness, or encouragement, I invite you to share it with someone who may need that same reminder. Not just to share a video, but to offer a blessing. And sometimes when we pass along something gentle, hopeful, or grounding, it deepens in us too. We become part of a circle of belonging, and we help someone else pause and breathe and remember they are not alone. So share this with someone who may need a still point today, and as you do, may the blessing return to you as well, my friend. And remember to breathe and to reset and to rise. And until next time, walk slowly, listen deeply, speak gently, and receive the world with an open heart and a smile. God bless, and all men.